Okay, I want to show how you can use the Casio calculator that is on your MyOpenMath site to get the equation of a line that goes through points. So to do this, you go down to the Stat menu. Actually, the Stat menu is just to the right of the Run menu, right here where it says Stat. Hit Execute on that. Let me move this over a little bit. Hit Execute, and now you type in your points. Now the first list, let's move this over here. The first list right here is for your x values. Now a coordinate goes x, y, just like the alphabet. So the first x coordinate is 5. Hit Execute and type in your second x value, which is, for my problem, 6. Then arrow over to the second list and type in your y values. So this y value is 3. Hit Execute, and this y value is -7. Once you get that in there, to get the equation, first you have to graph it. Hit this button right here, or you can hit F1. So graph. Now, it's set up to graph up to 3 different ones, and ours is graph 1. So just hit graph 1. And now you can see your 2 points graphed. So this point right here is the point 5, 3. And then this point is the point 6, -7. So there's your 2 points graphed. Now it's going to, you click Calculate. So see, we're just clicking in the same area 3 times, Calculate. And then now you click X because we're just getting a linear equation. So just click X right here, this X, and we have the equation. Now the equation is in the form y equals ax plus b. Most people were used to seeing y equals mx plus b, but it's the same thing. The number before the x is the slope. So the slope of this equation is, they're using a for that, and it calculated the a, or the slope, right here is being -10. And then the b is the y-intercept, and the b on this problem is 53. So that's your equation. Your equation is, I got it written right here, y equals -10x plus 53. You can see again the a goes before the x, and the a is calculated to be -10, so that's -10x. And then the b is what's after that, and the b is 53, so plus 53. That's the equation that it gives you. You can then copy it or draw it. If you draw it, that's what it looks like. Okay. There's the graph of that equation. You can see it does go through the 2 points. If I click on the X again, I can copy it, and if I hit Execute, it will place it into one of these positions here. So I'll hit Execute, and it will be in the graph menu. I'll go to it a second. Now you don't have to do all this that I'm doing here, but I'm just showing you that you can get it into the graph menu. There it is. I'll make sure that no other graph is selected here. I'll just delete that one. But up here you see that I do have that graph in there, that equation in there. I have to select it so that the equal sign is highlighted, and now I can draw it. And well, there's your graph. And then I can do anything you want off of this. Like for example, I could trace it along, and maybe I can find this point 53. Let's see. If I back this up a little bit, I can see the point 5, get it to where the x is 5 here. And whoop, there we go, 5. Well, it's not quite there, but 5, and that's about 3. I can do the G-solve here and do a whole bunch of things. Like if I do G-solve, I can get the y-intercept. Well, it's not found because it's not on the screen. So I'll tell you what, let's graph it again. So let's draw it. And I have to zoom out a little bit to get that. So let's do zoom, and we'll do out, hit Execute. And I'm going to have to zoom out until I can see that axis. So let's zoom out again. And I can see that axis now, the y-axis. So let's do G-solve, y-intercept. Still not found. I might have to zoom out one more time. So let's draw it again. And zoom out. And I'll tell you what, let's go over here a little bit so we can zoom out and have it centered over here in this area. So let's hit Execute. And now I can see definitely see it crossing that y-axis right there. So let's do gsolve y-intercept, and there's your y-intercept at 0.53. See, it's really high there, 0.53. Let's get the x-intercept. Gsolve root, and I can see it's at 5.30. You can also evaluate values on this graph. Like for example, I can do gsolve, and if I do more choices here, I can do ycalc. ycalc allows you to put in an x value. Like what is the x when what is the y when the x is 5? So I'll hit 5 in for x, and I get that the y is 3. See, it takes you right to that point, and that's one of the points that we had right there, 5, 3. How about if I do this, I do gsolve, more choices, this arrow right here, and I'll do ycalc. Well, ycalc, you enter an x, and it will get the y. Like let me enter the 6, hit execute, and it gets me that coordinate right there, 6, -7, and that's the coordinate I had. But I can get any coordinate off that. Like if I do gsolve, let's do the ycalc, and let's say the x was 10. Well, what do I get? I get argument error because that's not on the screen. I'm not zoomed out far enough. So let's hit exit, and we'll redraw it. And you see I'm not clear out to 10, so I'd have to zoom out again. Zoom out. I'd hit execute, and I think that might be out far enough to see it at 10. So let's do gsolve, more choices, the ycalc, and let's put in 10 now. Hit execute, and there it is, the point, 10, -47. So you can get any point you want along there, but the main thing was that you go to the stat menu to put in your points, and then you just hit right here at graph 1, calculate x, and that will get you your parts to your equation, your slope and your y-intercept. And I'll stop right there.